Supernatural was the epic cross-country adventure of two brothers searching for their dad, while saving people and hunting things. And then it got complicated. I mean, we're talking apocalyptic end-of-the-world complicated, but when doesn't it, right? But at its core, Supernatural was a show about family. And in season 4, that family got just a little bit bigger with the introduction of Castiel, Angel of the Lord. The thing is, Cass wasn't meant to be a major role. In fact, Misha was only set to appear in a handful of episodes and then eventually be killed off, a la Supernatural style. But what the writers didn't expect was for the audience to just latch onto him so quickly and so passionately. And how could we not? His clueless fascination with humanity and the inner struggle to self-discovery was relatable in a way that we didn't expect. So Misha stayed. And Castiel became a Winchester. That was the moment that Team Free Will was born, and they took on heaven together. Michael and Lucifer didn't stand a chance. But then I started to notice something. Something that bothered me the more it became apparent. And that was the complete lack of respect and compassion and understanding that Cass received. In short, Sam and Dean treated Cass like shit. He may have been promoted to a main character, but he was never treated as one. When we first meet Cass, he's like a clueless child. And while he doesn't understand humanity, he loves humanity because they're so odd and compelling. He has been led to believe one thing his entire life, and suddenly confronted with the idea of free will and that somebody in power isn't always right, he's learning to find his own way and make his own choices. And he doesn't always make the right ones, but he genuinely believes that he is trying to do the right thing. He goes from following orders to questioning them and his own place in the world. The thing is, Cass's mistreatment didn't start right away. You almost didn't notice it until it really smacked you in the face. In the 4th season, he's somewhat of a reluctant ally, a child still learning to walk. And then in the 5th season, he's an essential friend, even spending time with Dean. If the show had stopped at season 5 like it was meant to, then maybe we wouldn't be talking about this now. In seasons 4 and 5, they talked about their problems. They made amends. They even apologized or offered each other comfort. But in season 6, something shifted. Cass becomes the enemy. He becomes a tool to the Winchesters. Someone that they can call when they need something. He's no longer a trusted friend. They treat him like a pet. When they need something, they call. And they expect him to drop absolutely everything in that moment and come and bail them out. In one episode, they even compared him to a dog. It's an extremely one-sided relationship where they use him for all of his benefits. But when he asks for help, well...
Dean, I need your help.
A little busy, Cass. Take a number.
They do offer once to help with Civil War in Heaven, but Cass already considered asking Dean for help, but decided against it because Dean had already been through enough and he did not want to drag his very human friend into the problems of heaven. They call him when they need him, like sending them back into the Wild West. But then they turn around and call him useless when he has no powers against Eve. This starts a very disturbing pattern. The thing is, after everything that they have been through together, even to the point of considering each other family, they should have trusted him more like they do each other, to a fault. They have made just as many huge mistakes as he have, that have put the world at peril. They're always willing to jump through hoops to save each other. It's Dean's deal to save Sam the first time he died that kicked off the entire apocalypse. And then it's Sam's use of demon blood and killing Lilith that released Lucifer from his cage. Sam's a blood junkie. Let's drop everything to save him. He lost his soul? Well, screw everybody else. Let's fix this. Need to kill Abaddon? I'll sacrifice myself for the Mark of Cain. Remove the mark to save Dean, and damn the entire world to the darkness for one man. Their sole goal has always been their family, even at the detriment of the entire world. So when Cass tries to prevent a second apocalypse by absorbing all the souls in purgatory first, he thinks he's doing the right thing, just like Sam and Dean always think they're doing. He's not himself. The souls and the Leviathans, they warp him. Just like Dean wasn't himself with the Mark of Cain, or Sam when he's hopped up on demon blood. But their first response is to kill him. He's no longer family. He's the villain. He's the enemy. He doesn't deserve to be saved. He takes on Sam's memories of the cage as a form of penance. But unlike with Dean, who was actively looking for a way to help Sam and Dean just sort of abandon him at a hospital under the care of a demon. When he becomes useful to them again, they push him into helping them, even though he doesn't want to. He doesn't like conflict. He's not mentally stable, and yet they're blatantly taking advantage of him to defeat the Leviathans. And then he's sucked into purgatory with Dean. But even then, his sole concern was protecting Dean, even at the expense of himself. When he's tricked into sealing heaven, all the while Sam and Dean are trying to seal hell, his grace is forcefully ripped from him, and he becomes human, at which point he's completely abandoned by Dean after fighting to survive and sleeping on the streets just to get to them. He has no papers or identity when he becomes human, and he's turned out onto the streets by people who he considers family. And you would think that family would take you in and take care of you, that they would at least get him a job, help him onto his feet, offer him a little bit of money, or teach him even the basics of being human. He literally died to get to them. He's coerced into having sex. He loses his virginity to a woman who is using him, and then tortures and kills him. It opens an entirely new, interesting discussion around consent, but that's never actually touched on. Instead, the entire thing is just played off as a joke, and then he's unceremoniously tossed out onto the streets without an explanation. And he deserved one. Castiel sacrificed everything for them, and they gave very little in return. He turned his back on heaven, his home, his family. His grace slowly dwindled and was stolen from him. He was hunted, hated, and tortured. He became a pariah, a parasite, and they demanded loyalty from him when they didn't deserve it or hadn't earned it. And then they used his abilities when he was already drained and so close to dying. Sam and Dean are in trouble. They've been kidnapped. They're being tortured. Cass is there to find them, to protect them, no matter what. But Cass? Cass will be fine, right? Like he always is. He's forced to fight for himself, defend himself, rescue himself. He had a family of collected angels that followed him. Ones that would kill for him, that would die for him. And Dean comes in and humiliates him in front of them all. Castiel may have been promoted to a main character, but he was never treated as one. Going as far as to leave him out of the finale, he was barely even worth a mention. And do we even want to get started on the epic bury your gaze problem when Cass is killed after his confession to Dean? He made a huge sacrifice that was completely disregarded. We're not even privy to that very emotional and intimate conversation that would have happened between Sam and Dean after this loss. Pretty much the show chickened out on taking a side because they didn't want to deal with the ramifications. But to leave Cass completely out of the finale? Did COVID ruin it? Yeah, probably. But for Castiel to not have been considered an essential is a huge oversight by the writers and the producers. But we can take comfort in the fact that he was saved, even if it wasn't by the brothers. Jack is the one that scooped him out of the empty. So he's with his kid, and he's doing what he always wanted to do, which is to help and support people, to be by God's side. In a way, he got to walk away from a bad situation. Anything is better than constant abuse and unrequited love, even a void of absolute nothingness. But this isn't about Castiel. We can almost look at Cass as a victim of abuse. Think about it. You have this strong, confident, powerful angel of the Lord, reduced to someone who believes that he has no place. He's verbally abused by his friends and strangers. There's a complete loss of self-confidence. He is nothing. He is treated as disposable. He went from one of the most intimidating and powerful characters in the show to the comic relief and the punching bag. A main character of the show for over a decade didn't have any closure. Cass was just shoved into the background. I mean, I get focusing on the brothers. It started with them on the road and it ended with them on the road. But how hard would it have been for Cass to just pop up on that front porch at Bobby's and been like,
Hello, Dean.
It only goes to show how badly they wanted to avoid the aftermath of Cass's confession to Dean. The problem is the whole disposable nature of other characters to the Winchesters. Somewhere along the lines, it became less about saving people and more about each other. I mean, damn the world, other than the fact that they, live in it. Even Bobby said,
I love you like my own, I do. But sometimes you two are the whiniest, most self-absorbed sons of bitches I ever met.
Castiel deserved better. But in the end, we were just left with wasted potential. So much for family. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.
My people skills are rusty.